With that down, let's move on to our fifth and final main topic today. And our fifth and final main topic today gets submitted to us by Rohan Green. I knew a Rohan Green. Anyway, aren't they getting too old for this shit? See what I did there? I do see what you did there. What do you think about the reports that the whole gang is coming back to do a Lethal Weapon 5? I love all the original ones, but didn't the window close on this like a long time ago? Do you think it'll actually get made? And if so, will people come out to support it? All right. Thanks a lot for sending in that question, man. And yes, for those of you who may have missed it, the producer, Dan Lin, when doing a roundtable about something else unrelated, got to talking about Lethal Weapon. And he's suggesting they are indeed going to be doing a fifth one. This is the quote from Dan Lin. We're trying to make the last Lethal Weapon movie, and Dick Donner, that's Richard Donner, is coming back. 90-year-old Richard Donner, they're saying, is coming back to direct it. Said Lin, the original cast is also coming back. So apparently they've got everybody back on board. The original cast is coming back, and it's just amazing. The story itself is very personal to him, talking about Richard Donner. Mel and Danny are ready to go, so it's about the script. All right, so there it is. We've got the producer of this thing saying, we're going to do it. We want to do it. The director wants to do it. Richard Donner wants to do it. Danny Glover, Mel Gibson, they're both on board to come back and do it. The original cast is back. We've got a great story, all that kind of stuff. The question is it going to happen? I honestly don't think it will happen. You know, it's one thing, because he said something key there. He says it's all about the script. So they're basically saying they don't actually have a script yet. We've got a bunch of people that want to do it. They've got a story idea that they really like, but they don't even have a script yet, and they certainly don't have a green light from any studio. I, for one, count myself as one of the guys that I am totally down for a Lethal Weapon 5. I'm totally down for a Lethal Weapon 5. Sign me up. I'll watch it tomorrow. Sign me up. I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. So if it does happen, I'll be there with bells on, man. I will be there with bells on. I think despite Dan Lin's enthusiasm, I fear that despite Richard Donner's enthusiasm, I fear that despite Danny Glover and Mel Gibson's, excitement and willingness to come back and do it again, I think you raise, Rohan, some interesting and important questions. Would a studio actually greenlight it? And would the audience actually come out to support it? And those two questions are obviously in and of themselves, undeniably connected to each other as well. Let's start with, would the audience come out to support it? I have my doubts. I'll be there. I'd certainly be there. Maybe you would be there too, but I don't know. There's a couple of big reasons here. Number one, it's been over 20 years since the last one. Now, we've seen some franchises take a long break like that, come back and do something special, do something well. And that absolutely could be the case here. But it's been a long time. It's been a long time. The other thing you have to keep in mind with this is that, look, while Mel Gibson has done a lot of good stuff in the last decade, Mel Gibson has done some really good stuff. The fact of the matter is, and I don't want to get into the controversy here, I don't want to state or challenge anybody's position or anybody's point of view in this. I'm just saying that Mel Gibson is still, there are some question marks around Mel Gibson, and there are still a number of people in the audience that are uncomfortable with Mel Gibson. Right or wrong, fair or unfair, that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. When you combine those things, now it flows into the other half of that equation. Would a studio greenlight it? Would a studio want to put up the $50 million, the $45 million that it would take to make such a movie? When Mel Gibson, I actually lost track. How old? Wait a second. Maybe I should just ask, hey, Google, how old is Mel Gibson? Find out here in a second because I don't know how old he is.
64 years old.
So Mel is 64. Hey, Google, how old is Danny Glover? We'll see how old. So we got
Danny Glover is 73 years old.
And Danny Glover, 73. Can you do an action cop movie with these guys? I mean, clearly the story would be they're in retirement. Probably one of the children of one of the guys they put away comes back looking for revenge. We've seen that before, but whatever. I just don't know that a studio greenlights it. Despite the enthusiasm Dan Lin seems to have, he's the director's here, the cast is here, we're ready to go. Just give us $45 million to make it. And I don't know that anybody's going to. And I'd like to be incorrect about that, because I personally would watch this. I would personally watch the hell out of this. And I think there are some other people who would too, but enough that would make a studio stand up and say, yeah, we greenlit it. I have my doubts. I hope I'm wrong about that though. So the question I have for you guys is kind of, multi here. Number one, would you be interested in a Lethal Weapon 5? But now take that question and put it aside. So there's the question, would you go and watch a Lethal Weapon 5? Now let's ask another completely different question. Do you honestly think a lot of other people would? And do you think they're going to make this movie? And I don't know. Again, I hope they do, but I just don't know if it'll happen. What do you guys think about all this? Jump down into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts.